You know I'm ready. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to your favorite podcast. Riffin with Griffin, yeah. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Quarantine with Griffin. Yeah. Can't stop. I won't stop. Griffin. Keep on going, Griffin. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Riffin with Griffin. This is a special one. I finally got somebody on the show who I've been trying to get on the show for a very, very long time. This is my white whale. This is like hitting the lotto numbers. Finally got him on. Took a world pandemic to get this dude on the show, but here he is from Modern Family, Righteous Gemstone, the movie Jexy, and Workaholics. Adam Devine! Adam Devine! Fine and fine! This motherfucker finally made some time! Oh, man. Stupid. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program, Mr. Adam Devine. Before I even bring him on, before I have him, to play the recording because it's pre-recorded. Well, this is actually recorded too, but whatever. You guys don't need the inside information. But anyways, I really appreciate you guys listening and supporting the show, subscribing and all that stuff. If you want to see me game, I also game on Erik Griffin Gaming on Twitch and YouTube. Same name, Erik Griffin Gaming. So please check me out on there if you want to see that. But this guy coming on the show, Adam Devine, just, very special to me, the relationship that I have with him and the other guys from Workaholics, Blake and Anders, Jillian, Mary Beth, Kyle, all the people from the show. It was the first big thing I did. It was such an honor to be a part of such an iconic show. So many people still watch it today. People still call me Montez. It's just, I don't know. It's one of those special things that you get to be a part of, and I'll always treasure it. So I really appreciate him coming on the show. My partner in crime with the Clippers. We love the Clippers. Of course, look what happened. So it's like we talk about that. We talk about a lot of great stuff. But here he is right now. Please enjoy Mr. Adam Devine. All right. So after popular demand, after begging and and asking ad nauseum, here he is, everybody, Mr. Adam Devine. Hello.
Hey, what's up? What's up to your dozen fans?
Yeah, thank you. All 11. It's crazy because your mom's one of my fans. So
I believe that. I believe she'd be a big supporter.
Yeah, she is. No, I'm not even teasing. Your mom is a big supporter.
I'm not teasing either. I absolutely believe that.
Yeah, I love your mom. Your mom's one of my favorite Hollywood moms,
she's a Hollywood mom?
Well, yeah, because you're a big Hollywood star, so she would be a Hollywood mom, and she plays the part well,
And this is why I came on the podcast, so I could get some great affirmations. I could feel good about myself. You call me a big Hollywood star.
Big Hollywood star.
My mom is going to love to hear that she's a Hollywood mom, too.
Oh, man. And she's like, and she loves defending you, man. She gets into more Twitter or Facebook battles with people than anybody I've ever seen.
Well, she's not defending me. She's like screaming at people about how much she hates Trump. She's not.
Oh, my mom.
I don't think she often gets in. Who's hating on me?
Well, before, I used to see if somebody would say something, then she'd be right there and being like, my son is the best.
Well, she's a good woman.
She's a good mom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got to ask the dumb obligatory question of, how, well, actually, it looks like you're doing well during this quarantine and the coronavirus situation.
Yeah, it's nice, dude. Just
I will say, you throw the best parties at that place where you're at.
Yeah,
we won't give the address or anything, but you always have a good. Wholesome,
yeah, don't give the address.
Yeah, it's great over there at 4275.
No, Eric, no. Yeah, we throw some big fun parties at this house. It's cool.
I always say the sign that you're a really good dude is your parties and the people that come and the vibe and things that they say. You know what I mean? So you do.
Yeah, this is a nice people only type of party. You don't want dicks at your party.
They get drunk.
I try to keep the dicks and the cokeheads at bay. Leave them there.
Yeah, I feel you on that. So like, what is happening, man? I seen you still trying to do stuff. I saw you on First Take. That's my favorite, one of my favorite shows. I watch it daily. I saw you on First Take, and I was like,
"Oh, I love that show too." I wish I was funnier, man. It's so hard when they're like, it's like you're living a quarantine lifestyle.
Yeah,
we're comics, so we're used to getting up late, anyways. And then now it's just been like, I'm a noon wake upper. And so they were like, hey, 7 a.m., be on First Take. Yeah. Stephen A. Smith is going to be staring you down. Max Kellerman is hitting you with the 1-2 punch. And I'm like, yeah, go Clippers. Trying to be charming and funny. And but it was cool to do.
Yeah, you're always charming and funny. It's sad for us because I feel like the one time that our Clippers are like at the precipice, at the gates of glory, like the favorites to win. And
well, you know what?
It's the most clippery thing ever. It's the most clippery
thing. It couldn't have been more.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exactly what would happen to us as Clipper fans. Of course, this would happen.
I know. It's just like, I don't even know what to even say about it. Like,
well, you know what? Now it'll even be more sweet when we do win.
Oh, I know, but
that's it. And Kawhi's not going to go anywhere. And Paul George isn't going to go anywhere. If they took this season from us, they have to stick around. You know, they have to see what would actually happen if we got in the playoffs. So,
but do they? I mean, the economics of the NBA is going to change. Like if they're going to finish the season, they're just not going to be in front of fans. I mean, I don't see us going back to the stadium for a while. For a while, but you know, it's like you think about. I heard a rumor that they wanted to go to Las Vegas and like take over hotels, you know, and like do it like that. And like I'd watch. I mean, I'm dying for it. I mean, you'd watch, right? Like no matter what they show.
Yeah, for sure. I like that you hearing a rumor. It's like we have some like inside scoop.
I know. It's just
that
the internet.
Rumor you heard was on ESPN.
Oh, was it? Oh, yeah, I know. It was probably one of those shows. I heard it on 2 shows, actually. But it's still a rumor because it doesn't mean that it's going to happen.
That's true.
It doesn't mean it's going to happen.
You got your ear to the street, Erik.
I know. My ear to the every morning.
What's going on with you, dude? How is quarantine living for you? You got that green screen, so that's pretty
I'm playing
cool.
video games and stuff like that. Because the reason why I have the green screen is because I'm actually going to be sitting on your shoulder right now as we're doing this. I'm going to be on like on your left side right there. It's going to look great.
Nice.
I know I'm doing my thing. You know what I mean? I got Rachel's with me. You know what I mean? So you know that was challenging at first. You know, I mean,
yeah.
I'm sure any relationship because you're living. You would never live like this in normal situations.
Everybody just immediately became an old retired married couple
that already went through all the spells of like, I hate you, I love you, you're my brother now.
We all have like 30 years of relationship under our belt, but instead we just have a couple years or less than that, and we're thrown into retirement life.
I know, it's crazy. I was telling her, like, I feel like I've spent more. I think that we've actually spent more physical time together in this past month than like the last 3 years. Like, just, you know, total, like, it's like 24 hours a day. You start to think about like, damn, I'm spending a lot of time with this person. It's like accelerated relationship. But you heard like it. How are you doing? Because you're engaged.
No, we're doing great. It's actually awesome. Oh yeah, we're loving it. But I feel like after this quarantine, people are either going to be like, you know what? She is the one. Yeah. Or they're going to be like, yeah, and we are breaking up. As soon as this is over with, day 1 out of quarantine. We can't break up during quarantine because we're stuck with each other, but there's no going to be like, yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's like, hey, it's been decided.
Dude, I know what you mean. I read an article about in China that it was like divorces are up like five times. It's just like people came out of their quarantine like, yeah, this ain't gonna work.
I love that.
Yeah, thanks, bud. Bye. You know, I saw this movie on a plane, and I just watched it the other day with my girl. That Isn't It Romantic?
Yeah.
And I was like, it's such a sweet movie, but I got to ask you though. At the end of the movie, there's this big dance sequence, and it looked like a horrific day of shooting.
It actually wasn't that bad. If you probably didn't notice, I only noticed because it's me, it's my face and my body. So you end up just kind of, you know how it is when you watch yourself on a screen, you like aren't watching objectively. You're just like staring at your dumb face going like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have, God, I wish I wouldn't have ate those like 8 pieces of pizza the night before. My head looks atrocious. But we shot that was like a pickup after the fact. Like the whole movie was done in the can, edited, and then they did some testing and they were like, yeah, we want like a big fun, like what was testing the highest was the song and dance number in the bar.
Oh, got
the karaoke scene.
Right.
And then they were like, yeah, we want more of that, especially from like me and Rebel, like doing the Pitch Perfect movies together. They wanted us singing and dancing more. So they like designed this whole song and dance number, but I was shooting The Righteous Gemstones at the same time. So I had already gotten my big dumb Righteous Gemstones haircut where like I have my hair in like the point, and they're like, you can't cut it. We're like in between scenes.
Oh,
like
no.
I flew to New York from South Carolina for like 4 days to shoot that, and then flew back to continue with Righteous Gemstones. So they're like, you can't cut your hair. So I have this big dumb hair that kept like flopping around while shooting that dance sequence. And the whole time I'm like, it's not going to cut together. The whole movie's ruined. And meanwhile, everyone's like, no one gives a shit about your hair, Adam.
Yeah.
They're looking at Priyanka Chopra. They're laughing at Rebel. You're just in the movie. Be happy. Be happy you're just in the movie.
It was actually a sweet movie. Yeah, you know, you do that great. Like every movie I've seen you in where like you're just like, because for some reason you're always that guy who wins in the end, but he wasn't winning the whole movie. And then finally people realize, you know what? That guy's actually handsome.
You know what? It's almost offensive by like how I'm pigeonholed as like, I'm definitely like the ugly friend who
you settle for. You go, you know what?
Yeah,
he's all right.
Yeah, you know what? He is a good guy.
Yeah.
So what? He's not handsome like a Hemsworth.
Well, I mean, it's hard having Hemsworth there. Like, that motherfucker is so handsome for no reason at all. It's just, he's disgustingly handsome, so I get it. When you're next to him, you're like, okay, he's the leading man. But, like,
yeah,
you know
he
what I mean?
really is a fucking stud, too. He's he's so goddamn talented. It's kind of off-putting.
Yeah,
where you're just like, Jesus, man.
Yeah.
Because he's so funny. He's funny in that movie, too, and he's like, yeah, he's just a fucking stud. And you're like, yeah, hey, I get it. I get why Hollywood has pigeonholed me in this role, and you're pigeonholed as
I know,
as the super leading man. I get that.
Nice to be pigeonholed in that. But, you know, it's like, you know, we go way back, you know, the Workaholics days, you know. I love
where we know each other from.
Yeah, right? You know, I think, it's like, I know you hate it. I know you hate it, but I always, like, everybody always asks me about Workaholics. And I always tell the same story about how I didn't know that it was your show. Like, I had no idea that you were, because we just saw each other, and I saw you at that Brea Improv. I'll never forget it. And you're just like going up doing your set, and I was like, you know what, kid, you're doing good.
Yeah, I remember you like had like which was nice because you were like the more veteran comic, and I'm like a younger comic. You know, I was like, what, probably 24 or 5, and you were like, hey, you know what? You're really coming into your own. Keep it up, man. This is really good. I'm like, hey, thanks. And I like knew that you were auditioning in a couple days. And I'm like,
know. That was the fucking funny part. And then even in my mind, when I saw you in the room, I thought to myself, oh, this guy's really getting around. Look at him interning at the, you know, I didn't even know at the time. And then like the rest is history.
I totally could have been an intern on that. Like the acceleration that we had from like making YouTube videos and me going and doing little spots, not even headlining the improvs or anything, like just being a feature act, to go from that to like having my own show was like such a 0 to 100 real quick.
And then it went 0 to like a million, like, you know, when the thing came out. I mean, honestly, I remember reading the audition, and I had two thoughts about it. The first thought was like, they're never gonna let me say this stuff on television. Okay, that was the first thing.
This is going nowhere.
Yeah, and then my second thought was like, I'm not gonna. It was so crazy, dude, because the first audition, I remember doing it like, I remember working on it because it was so crazy, and I thought, if I could do this on TV, that'll be so funny. You know, so I said, let me go all balls out on this, like, you know. And then I remember, like, the casting directors, after I did my audition, they stopped, they looked at each other, and they went, okay. You know what I mean? It was just like that. Yeah. All right, this might be a take, you know. And then I remember coming into that first time I saw you there, and I'm looking in this room of people, and I'm like, I'm never gonna get this. There's the guy from Boston Legal. There's the guy from the George Lopez Show. There's Jay Phillips. There's the dude from this other thing, and I was like, what am I doing in here? You know what I mean? And then it's just like, but I always use that as a story to tell people, never think you can't get something. You just go out and, you know, give it your all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you never know like what people are looking for. Like, we didn't really want, since we were like super young and didn't have a lot of experience, but wanted, you know, we're the bosses and we want people to listen to us. We didn't want someone that like was super famous and had been on a ton of other stuff that would come in and be like, no, we're doing it my way because I've done XYZ.
And then taking the focus away from you guys.
Yeah, we're like, no, we want to do it this way because we don't want it to feel like whatever else.
Yeah.
Boston Legal. We actually wanted it to feel like exactly like Boston Legal. That's what was weird.
Yeah, man. It was probably one of the most gratifying experiences is just being a part of Workaholics and seeing it all. Like, you know, I often say though that people should watch it in reverse. You know, I think. What
do you mean? Watch us get younger.
Yeah. Watch you guys get younger, because I just think that the purest time of the show was like in the first couple of seasons. Like, my favorite episode to this day is the Office Campout. You know, I think that's
one of my favorites too.
Yeah, it's my favorite episode because it just encapsulates what you guys are and your real sort of like real fake friendship. You know what I mean? Like the fake in the Hollywood, but like on the TV, but it had some of like how you guys really are with each other, and I just thought that was, you know. Anyway, it was just a really great experience, you know. And then, but when you came off of that, you want to say something? Go ahead.
No, I agree. I think it's not that there's not awesome episodes in the later seasons of the show, but it's like any show. It's like you come out the gate knowing exactly what the show is, and then the show kind of morphs and changes, and then you feel like you can't do certain episodes certain ways because it would be too similar to an episode you've done before. And then you're trying not to copy yourself. And then you start to get away from what you did with the show initially. That, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's a common thing with any show that goes for 7 seasons, I feel.
Yeah. You guys learned how to write, direct, produce, you know, be actors on the show. I mean, it was just like amazing thing to watch. Like I always, one of my favorite and worst days of the show would be like when Durs was directing. I always knew when it was Director Durs. I always called it, Director Durs is here. Because he like, I don't know why, he just turned into a different person. And I never understood it. I asked him about it. He's been on my podcast already. Actually, almost everyone has been on the podcast except you. This is your...
Hey, and now I'm on. So...
Actually, Blake was my first guest, but I asked Durs about it too. I'd be like, dude, what was up with you at Director Durs days? He just would like flip into like a different person to be like, okay. But then like I remember when you directed, it was still like you never really changed. You know, you just was like, okay, you know, you kind of kept that same energy. So it's just so weird that he would do that.
Yeah, I feel like Durs like compartmentalizes so well in his head. So like he just like shifts over to like, this is my director mode.
Yeah, and then it's like it's a little bit more dickish than it should be, though.
That's just his way.
I know. One of my he was always the grown up of the group. You know what I mean?
For sure. That's why he played it so well.
I know one of my favorite days. One of the because they were sweet. You know, 7 years is so many days, right? But there's one of my favorite ever days of Workaholics is when we're doing that seance, and it was like what a random take. We were just, I didn't know they said action. And you and Jillian were just cracking me up. I thought we were rehearsing, and I just was laughing the whole take because like you just were doing this stuff, and I was just like, my God, this is like how am I not laughing all the time with these people? And then then it was like cut, and you were like, good choice, Erik, to laugh through the whole. Like, what is this acting choice, bro?
Yeah, solid acting technique. Just laugh wholeheartedly.
Oh my God, good times, man. I don't know when you came off.
It was the best, man. I miss it a lot sometimes. It's
just the simplicity of it, right?
Well, it was so fun, and it was like we were so like new to everything, so everything was still so exciting. You know, like the fact that we were all getting paid and we were doing it and we were making a show together, and it felt like we were like the little show that could and then did. Yeah. It was so fun. And everyone always said like, this is going to be, it won't get better than this, just so you know. Like I had tons of people tell me that, like more established people, that they're like you will go and you'll probably make more money doing other things, and you know, you might get more famous doing other things or whatever, but it won't get better than this. And I was like,
is that true so far?
It's just going to be better. And then
true so far?
It's totally true. Like I've had fun doing other movies and, you know, and other shows or whatever, but it's like doing that show was the best.
Yeah, it really, I guess it was different for me because it was like, this is strange, but for me, it was like, that was how, because it was like low budget at first, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like we were like, you guys took over an office building and turned this office building into like the set. And then our red dressing rooms were offices. And it was just like a weird like process until the show got bigger. So like, mm-hmm. You think that's how it is for like when you're a supporting cast member, and then you go on other shows and stuff and you're like, oh yeah, there's actually like,
they're like, they built sets. We're on a lot.
Yeah, there's trailers and stuff. What's going on here?
I know, like I told, like Chloe was just amazed when she found out that me, Blake, Kyle, and Durs shared the same trailer for 7 seasons. The same trailer, which is like, people don't know, like, you know, people that are listening to this, one of the 11 people that are listening to this that
Mom already knows, but go on.
Yeah, that might not know, like as an actor, you get your own like little trailer, or at least like your own little room, and then as the show gets bigger, everybody kind of gets their own trailer, and it becomes a bigger thing. But we were so like low budget and kept things so like in-house that we just shared the same trailer. And we, as producers, we were like, it'll save us money and we can put that money towards the show as opposed to us being fancy and just having our own trailer.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing. I think back on that. I was like, it was big. You know, the show got big. I mean, it was huge. It was like, and the thing about it too was like, it was like people's favorite show. Like to this day, it's people's favorite show. Like there's a lot of shows on the air. There's a lot of shows that come and go, but there's not that few shows that touch people the way Workaholics did.
Well, you know what's weird is when you meet someone now, it just makes me feel fucking old, dude. When I meet somebody and they're
40,
they look older than I do. Like they're like they might be like I'm 36 years old now, and they might be like 32 or something, yeah. or like 30, and be like, I grew up with your show.
Yeah.
And they have like a beard and they're balding, and you're like, what's that? Because I was 25 years old when I started the show. I was already an adult.
Yeah, man. It's pretty amazing. And then for me, it was like, see, lucky for you guys, you're Adam. So it's like Adam. You know, so when you walk down the street, people go, Adam. You know, for me, it's like, you know, Montez. You know, like just all the time, Montez. Sure. And so I don't care. Like I'm not like what's his name from Superbad. You know. He didn't want McLovin.
Oh,
you know how,
yeah.
Yeah, he hates that from what I hear. He's like, I'm not McLovin, So I always knew it was like once that started to happen, I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna be, this is who I'm gonna be forever as long as people watch this show. But luckily because of social media, to find me, you have to find out my name is Erik Griffin. So they go, oh, Erik Griffin, you're Montez from Workaholics.
With my social media, it like even confuses people more because I have a fake name as my Instagram account.
Right. Oh, yeah,
so
yeah,
people are like, what's Adam DeMamp's real name? And then they look me up on Instagram and they're like, it's Andy Bovon. Which is a fake name that I made that I put in when I was, because I didn't know Instagram was going to be such a big deal. I thought it was going to be like a fun thing to share photos with friends.
And you never got a chance to change it to Andy Devine? Yeah, Adam Devine. You never wanted to change it?
You don't even know my real name, motherfucker. Andy Devine?
No, Adam. You've confused me. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our podcast. Charlie Smith, everyone. No, I mean, you never wanted to change it to your real name, or you tried, or somebody already has it?
No, my publicist was like, they were like, we could get it for you. And I was like, fuck it.
Yeah,
it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny not to, I think when you care too much, that's when it's off-putting to people,
Yeah. I know.
When it's like, yeah, it's just Andy Bovon. It's fine.
When you finished Workaholics and you were moving on to other things because you were already, was there a time, and even now, do you feel like you're still, there's like 70% of it is you're still typecast as Adam DeMamp, Or is it just part? But let me ask the second part to that question, but not that that's a bad thing because it is a part of your comedic character that you bring to a lot of your performances. But is there a part of you that's like, I kind of want to like be like, in the Irishman,
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like I kind of got lucky with doing Modern Family at the same time I was doing Workaholics.
That's right.
And so that character was such a sweetheart and was like such like a kind of a pure nice guy. And not that DeMamp wasn't a nice guy, but he was just a fucking maniac. He was like a wild man. So I got to play the wild man, and then I got to go over to Fox and play like this over to Modern Family, which shot at the Fox Studios, and got to play like this sweetheart of a guy. And I think that helped me not get totally typecast. That's why I think I'm doing a lot of these romantic comedies and stuff now, because people have seen me do that in other shows, like Modern Family.
I also think it's kind of amazing how you're known for so many different things by so many different people. Like when we would go to the Clipper games together, like it would be funny like how like a middle-aged woman would come up and be like, "Oh my God, it's like what was it? It wasn't the character's name Andy on the yeah." So they would be like,
right.
"Oh, it's Andy from Modern Family," and then like some kids would be like, "Adam," and, it's like and then Pitch Perfect. So it was like actually a plethora of like a perfect storm of like different types of things,
that
happened in your career.
Cool. Thank God.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just doing a podcast now. So my career is,
Hey, I'm talking with the guys right now about maybe doing a podcast together.
Oh, here we go. Here it is. Look at this.
Everybody needs one.
Now you want to do a podcast.
Well, goddamn, I'm stuck in quarantine. I got to do something. Why do you think I'm talking to you finally?
I know. That's why I was like, oh, now I can get him on. When he's like, not like, I can't do a podcast right now, bro.
Well, I'm sorry. I would have done it sooner. And it sucks because so many of my friends have podcasts, and I do want to be a good friend and do podcasts and talk with you guys. But everybody was asking me right when I came off of all the press from Jexy.
Oh,
and
right.
That movie, I did so much goddamn press. I did every talk show you can do. I did The Tonight Show. I did Colbert. I did Kimmel. I did Ellen. I did Kelly Clarkson. Today Show. Like I was fucking everywhere, and I was just so sick of seeing myself and talking.
Especially talking about like this same project over and over and over again.
Yeah, and then that project just kind of didn't do that well in the theaters, and I was just kind of like, I'm fucking done talking with people for a while. Yeah, till now, till I'm in quarantine.
I don't know, dude. How are you? How is it being engaged? Like, how is it like? You're a grown ass man now, dude.
Don't do it. I'm telling you, man. Date for as long as you can.
I always remember though, like looking back at when you guys you're in your early 20s. You're on this show that is catering to college age kids, and it's just you had your time to be like a sex symbol, huh? Like a workaholic sex symbol. The Adam Devine sex symbol days.
I don't know if I was ever a true sex symbol, but yeah, I think it was good. It was important to like have a few years where you're like doing dumb.
Yeah, just dumb
like
stuff.
Dumb Hollywood stuff, like going to the club, which I've never did. Like when I was 21, 2 years old, like I couldn't afford to go even to a bar. I would like smuggle in my own alcohol to bars because I couldn't afford alcohol. So like when the show finally became popular, when I was like 25 years old, 26 years old, when the show finally hit, I definitely took a little bit of time, a couple of years to like.
You sowed your oats.
Have fun. Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But now, look, like you're 36. Jesus, you're like, you're practically 40, man. Welcome to the
OG,
club,
baby.
Yeah, you're over 35 now, so now you're grown up, which is like I think that's when men grow up, and now you're like I
feel more grown up.
Yeah, it's funny, right?
36 years old. How old were you when you started Workaholics? 40, 45, 46?
You piece of shit. I don't even know. I don't even remember. But I was I thought it was late 30s.
Okay.
It was late 30s.
Yeah, so you have always been the oldest person I've ever known. Yeah. So that's cool. I thought Dirk was the oldest person I've ever known, but no, turns out it's you.
Yeah, it's this like weird thing that like I actually have another memory from Workaholics that I want to say. It was like that future is nar. We're sitting here on set. I had this stupid Bane shit on and a balding cap, and
that was such an insane episode. What were we doing?
I know. And then we're doing this. We're doing a stunt where you barrel around a corner and fucking tackle me in the chest. And then the stunt guy. This was the stunt talk. Just, breathe out, Erik. Breathe out. And I'm like, what? Action. Then here you come. With all the bent-up energy of whatever it was, you just fucking tore into my chest, into a file cabinet. I was like, this motherfucker, I thought that was too real. I don't know. I was like, what did I do to you, man?
You had a lot of aggression. No, Erik, it's nothing. You didn't do anything to me. I'm just an athlete, man.
Oh, gee. Yeah, an athlete. That's why, yeah. Yeah, that's why you almost broke your body playing fake basketball.
I know. I tore my ACL doing a episode of Workaholics. That was the worst.
Yeah, that was the worst. But you know what? I gotta say, you guys scrambled and you got that together. You just changed the story right in the middle of it. But I remember when that happened, we hear you screaming outside, and then everybody looked at each other like, "Here's Adam."
Oh God!
Adam's doing another one of his bits. He's
going on an improv run.
Yeah.
Not in the script.
Buckle up, everybody. Adam's on a run. Yeah. Speaking of not on the script, it's just. Some of the people's favorite moments, and they say these lines back to me, are these things that weren't in the script, Adam. Like, oh, your knuckles are hairy.
You do have some wildly hairy knuckles.
Your big ass nose. That was that one. I was like, Adam, I'm looking at the script like, I don't see this in the script, Adam.
Dude, that's why we're improv geniuses. We take what's there and we use it.
I talk about this on one of my specials. It's like when you're playing a character that's crazy, you're playing a character, you're not crazy, When you're playing a character who's like whatever, like, they're a senator, you're not a senator. But if like you're playing a fat character, if it says fat, yeah. So when you look at the character and say, "Hey, you fat fuck," there's a part of me that's like, "Is he talking to me?"
Yeah, but that's not. Adam Devine calling Erik Griffin. That's because I would never do that. I'm not a mean person. But Demand has beef with Montez in the office, and they go toe to toe. They go head to head.
Yeah, they go head to head. Yeah, I always remember my first ever scene in Workaholics, my first ever lines in Workaholics. I know it too. It's just because I remember that because that was my first big thing. You know, it was like I guess my invitation got lost in the mail. That was my first.
That's right.
That was my first ever line in Workaholics.
And you walked into our cubicle, and you did this for like a solid season and a half, where you were so bad at hitting your mark. So you'd always walk in, look down on the ground. The little X on the floor. You only know that
because you were in there editing.
Yeah, you'd walk in, look down, toe up to your mark, and then look back up and deliver your line.
Hey man, I had to learn, just like you. You weren't a pro right away either, motherfucker.
True.
I remember we did that episode where Kyle was hitting me with that I was hitting him with that 2-headed dildo, you know, and then he, you know, and so when he's acting in a scene, so you know, and then because he would always get on me about hitting my mark, you know, Erik, that's your job, get on your mark, and then like he didn't hit his mark, and I was like, oh, it's not so easy, huh, buddy?
Yeah, Kyle was also pretty bad at that.
Acting?
Well, Kyle's not a real actor. You're a real actor, man.
Yeah. Kyle was like, you know.
See, it's the same thing with Kyle's character. We call him Dirty Brown Water Trash in the show. He played Carl the drug dealer. And, you know, we always talk about how smelly and gross his character is. And then Kyle, the person, Kyle Newacek, doesn't take offense to that, even though Kyle Newacek is
a dirty
smelly.
sewer rat. Yeah.
Is a dude.
Yeah, I love that guy though because he put me in his movie. He put me in Murder Mystery. So it's like from the Workaholics family. You know, we're still working. Yeah.
I know that was cool seeing you in that.
Yeah, there's a lot of Workaholics people. The tree from Workaholics. You know, I've been on many shows and sets where somebody comes up to me and goes, "Hey, I was a writer on Workaholics season 2," and I'm like, "Oh, I never saw you. I don't know."
Yeah. Oh yeah, you hid in that back little room.
Yeah. You guys hid away for fucking 7 seasons. We never saw the writers. Just occasionally. Even when we were shooting, there wasn't like only a couple of people, like Scotty or somebody, but most of the time.
Well, it was because we were also, they didn't have to be there because we were there. You know what I mean? Like we were also the writers. So we were in the room all the time. So if you had a writer question, we could answer it.
I remember I said to this is a funny moment for me with Kyle because he hits me up after I'm dying up here, you know, and he says, "Yo, man,
love the show, by the way. I love that show. I wish it kept going.
I appreciate it." But he goes like this. He says, because I talked about it when he was on the podcast too. He says, "Hey, man, you really grown as a performer." And in my mind, I'm like, we were shooting these shows at the same time. Like, yeah. I didn't go away for 10 years and come back. Like, no, I just wasn't used.
Yeah. Well, also, we're not going to do those type of scenes on Workaholics anyways. You know what I mean? It was a fun sitcom.
Well, also, it was like my joke with Bill and I we have this joke, like when we're doing, if it was Bill and I doing scenes with you guys, we would always have this joke and be like, all right, what's the over under on our takes, on our coverage? You know, so it'd be like 2.5 would be the number. Like, you know, that would be like 2.5. So 3 we win, 2 is a push. You know, because it would be like, so there's cameras on you guys. It'd be like, okay, single on Adam, single on Blake, single on Durs, double on Adam and Durs, triple on Adam and Durs and Blake. Okay, let's zoom in on Adam. It would be like 15 till you guys got it. Like whatever. Then it's like turn around on Montez. Blah 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 blah. Got it. Moving on.
Let's go to lunch. Like, that just shows how good of an actor you are, Erik.
Can I try it one more time?
15 tries.
So that's the one thing I thought was different when I went on another show where I was like, because I'd be like, you know, I'd do one thing and be like, oh, okay, well, I guess, are we done? They're like, no, Erik, let's just get another. I'm like, you know, I get to do it more than 2 times?
Well, also, it was a different show. I'm dying up here because it was more of a big ensemble, and Workaholics was less of a big ensemble show, and it was the 3 main guys
Yeah, I know. It was your guys' show.
It was our show, and then.
It was our show.
And then there would be, you guys would facilitate story.
Yeah. I remember season 1, I used to tweet out, because like there'd be like, because I was in 4 episodes season 1, but the camera would pan by where Montez was supposed to be sitting. So then I would be tweeting out like, yeah, Montez is at the dentist.
Yeah.
This episode. But I
Montez
got it. It was just like,
take a shit.
Yeah, Montez is
Montez ate some bad chorizo in the morning, and
yeah, I had to go away. Oh man, good times though. What do you got in the can?
Yeah.
Is there something? What else is coming out besides Righteous Gemstone, which is hilarious, by the way? I really like that show.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, you did a lot. You've been on a lot of like some funny stuff, man.
Yeah, thanks. Nothing right now. Nothing's in the can. Another season of Green Eggs and Ham, which I'm the voice of.
Oh.
Of me and Michael Douglas and Diane Keaton. Jillian's in it too. I play Sam I Am. It's on Netflix for a kid show. It's awesome. It's really fun.
You've done a lot of voiceover.
Yeah. And so that'll be coming out later this year, and then nothing. We're about to start shooting season 2 of Righteous Gemstones.
Like, I wonder
they cut us because of COVID, so we're kind of waiting to go back.
I wonder how they're going to do that too. Is it going to be like even on shows? Do you think they're going to be like social distancing on the shows, or do you think some shows will start writing like this show is happening during the show, or like how do you think that Hollywood's going to handle that?
I honestly have no idea. I don't think you could go back to work under the social distancing guidelines. I think
it's going to be impossible.
It'll be impossible because the crews are large on like a real show, on a big show.
Yeah,
there's like over 100 people working, and you have to, and they're all like union shows, so you can't just cut people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's not like you could go bare bones, because then the union will go, well, no, you have to pay there has to be like a transpo team, and there has to be like 10 guys on that crew, and then the whole grip department.
The grips.
Yeah, and there has to be like one person can't do 3 people's jobs. Everybody needs to have their job that they do, which is good. That's how it should be. But during this time, I'm like, I don't know how it's going to get done.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I even going back to our previous discussion about the NBA, I don't even know how they're going to do that, really. Because you're talking about 14 players, the assistant coaches, whatever the crew that's going to be doing the broadcasting, and there's got to be people in there that's part of like making it happen. I mean, how are any of these kind of entertainment things, especially football? Like, I just don't see football coming back. I know you're a football guy too, especially college football, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know how they're going to do football
Nebraska.
at all. Yeah, I don't know how.
I have no idea.
I don't know that the NFL. There's no way the NFL is going to come back. They can't come back because you're talking about 53-man roster on either side. That's 106 right there. Then you're talking about all the people on the sideline, the coaches, and how are they going to do it?
The NFL is like small compared to college football. College football. I mean, how many teams are in the?
Yeah, over 100 Division.
I don't even know, like 30.
Yeah.
There's
over 100 Division I teams.
Hundreds and hundreds, of teams. So it's like I have no idea how they're going to do that.
Yeah, but so it's the same thing with these shows.
Whatever. Maybe we push pause on 2020. Yeah. We pick it all up at 2021, and we're right back at it. 1 year older.
Yeah, I agree with you. I know what you mean, though. I feel like. I know this is like it's easy for us to talk about this, especially you. You're sitting in a beautiful place. Sure. But it's easy for us, and we're not being insensitive to the people out there that it's like a different struggle. But there are some like the silver lining to a lot of this is I think it's good for the environment. I think it's like good for us to like everybody to like take a beat and slow down. We just need more people to help other people out. And hopefully this won't last for too long where it's just going to cripple people, which it probably already has for some people. But for like, you got to find a way to look at some of the silver lining because it could just be depressing, because like, all of us, even on every level. Because look at you're about to go into season 2. That's your career. That's your job. That's what you do. And it just stopped. I mean, it's so on all different levels, it's the same thing. And then for me, like, look, doing stand-up was my main source of income. And now I'm just sitting there like, what the fuck? Because who knows when that's going to come back?
I know. Yeah, it's a weird time. It's a weird time for everyone. So it's kind of weird knowing like people are just sitting in their houses in Germany. You know what I mean? Like it's a worldwide thing. It's not like when
it's not
an
just
earthquake,
that's not just Cerritos, you know, it's like
it's not like when a disaster strikes America and there's a earthquake in LA, for instance, and LA is dealing with it. It was a bad earthquake, and we all are like, "Oh my God, how are we going to rebuild?" Blah blah blah. And then the rest of the world is going, "Oh yeah, that happened in LA. Cool. Oh, that sucks." And then they go about their lives. But this is a worldwide pandemic. We're all dealing with it, and so when people are like, "Oh, the economy," it's like, yeah, but it sucks for everybody.
Yeah.
It sucks for everybody.
I know.
So I'm not a social scientist, so I don't really understand all the repercussions, but I think if, you kind of wait it out for as long as you can, and hopefully we can get the antidote and cure this goddamn thing, because it does fucking suck. I think everybody's ready to get back to work.
Yeah, or just even, how about just spend time with people? I think we're just ready to do that.
Yeah, I'm ready to like see my mom,
Yeah, dude. I can't even go see my mom because, my mom's got dementia, and I just don't want to go over there. I don't even want to, like, even though I haven't gone, even because I went to the supermarket, so I even feel like, no, I don't want to risk it. My parents are over 70. You know what I mean? It's just like you don't even want to, like, you don't want that to be the reason. Like, you sneezed.
Does your mom what level? Because we've talked about this before, but
it's mild. But
it's mild. She knows what's happening right now, right? She understands.
Yes, but she's it's like Groundhog Day. It's like she's learning it every day.
Yeah.
Ugh,
what a nightmare.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I was talking with somebody else about this too. It's like, I'm not sure what's worse. If you have this sort of Alzheimer's dementia where you don't recognize anyone, or you think you're 11 years old, or all these different weird things, or what I'm dealing with where you think this person's okay until they say something that you go, what? What are you talking about? So it's kind of like that for me, and it could be difficult. Like I've had moments where it's really hit me hard. But like right now, again, I want to just go see my parents out, and they're so stubborn. It's like they want to go to the store and they want to do things, and it's like, keep your ass at home. What are you doing?
For sure.
Are you parenting your parents, or your parents are pretty good?
They're good now. I think like everybody's like, you didn't know how real it was at first.
Right.
Like I remember I was in Charleston, South Carolina, where we shoot The Righteous Gemstones, and McBride, Danny, he invited us to a Sturgill Simpson concert. And if you don't know Sturgill Simpson, he's awesome. He's like rock, sort of country-esque, but awesome concert. Hung out with Sturgill Simpson after the show. Big concert, like probably 15,000 people there. And then literally the next day, like everything hit. Like they're canceling, or they're pushing the show. We can't shoot anymore.
That must have been like March 11th.
Yeah, I think it was the 12th.
That was my birthday. That's exactly why I have it in my head about that time.
Yeah, and so we were like, oh fuck. Like, oh, this is like real. Maybe we shouldn't have been at that concert. Then it just came out in the news last week. Sturgill Simpson has COVID, and he had it.
Shit.
He got sick the 13th. He was just in Europe playing like Italy and shit. And he came, and then Charleston was one of his first shows back in the States. We hung out with him afterwards. We're drinking with him, hanging out with him. And then he gets sick.
Yeah. It just,
and I'm like, you don't realize, like, you've probably been in contact with somebody that has had it. And that's just the only reason I know that is he's a famous person. There was like a press release that came out that he has it. Like,
how's he doing now though?
He's fine. I guess it was like 3 or 4 days that it was like bad, where he had a fever and a bad cough and all this. And then he felt fine, but couldn't get a test. The doctor said like, he can't get a test. And then like he finally got a test. He went through one of those drive-through tests, and then it said that he tested positive for COVID. Like he still has it. So
yeah, it's just so it was real for me when I was in Tennessee doing shows, and like a couple of my other comic buddies calling me up like, yo man, I canceled my shows and I'm flying home, you know, and I was like, oh shit, what?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like what?
Yeah.
You know, and then but I think the real moment for all of us is when Tom Hanks, you know.
Oh dude, I said that from the jump. I'm like, I don't believe in conspiracy theories. Like 99% of the time, I think, you know,
there's a rational explanation.
Yes. And I also think like people aren't really evil. Like no one's really like out to get anyone else for the most part. Like sure, Hitler existed, but for the most part, people are inherently decent people.
Right.
Or at least you see the reason that they're doing the things that they're doing. You know? But when Tom Hanks was the first celebrity I heard that got it, I'm like, oh, something's up. Yeah. Like, how is the most famous, most beloved person in the world the one person to get coronavirus?
I know.
Like, it couldn't have been the sixth lead off of Suits.
Yeah.
You know, some guy that you're like, oh, I guess I kind of.
Oh, I might get it too. Maybe.
Yeah. I guess I kind of know him. Must not be that real. It's like, no,
that'd be like if Montez got it, right?
Or me. I mean, like
no. If you would have got it, it would have been huge. If Adam Devine has corona, that would have been like. I think it would have been more that like. I think we were scared for Tom Hanks because we know he's not a young man, and I was waiting to hear. I thought to myself, they were already at that point buying up all the toilet paper and acting crazy, and I thought if Tom Hanks dies of corona, it's going to be Armageddon.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So to know that he recovered and they're fine, he's hosting SNL. It makes it made me kind of feel like, okay, there's another side to this.
Yes.
You know, people are dying, and then there's pre-existing conditions. There's so much science to it that I don't even understand. Like I saw this great poster where it said, "How can something that soap and hand sanitizer can kill that we don't have a cure for yet?" You know?
Absolutely, yeah.
But just the common sense science of that makes sense to me. But like, I'm sure there's more sciencey shit to the reasons why that's not accurate. But you know, it became real. You know, I think the Tom Hanks was the first real moment. I think we were on edge waiting to find out. Give us some Tom Hanks news. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Tom. That's when. Yeah, for sure. When I heard that, it was like, oh. Like, he was the first person that you heard of that got it. And he's also, like, America's dad. You know, you grew up with the guy. Like, everybody, there's not a fucking human being that doesn't like Tom Hanks.
Yeah, he might
be. So, for him to get it, I was like, oh, boy.
He's in the top 20, I would say, most famous people on the planet. Wouldn't you say?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I'd put him probably top 10. Like, he's so famous. And also... Not even just famous. Like, sure, Brad Pitt's famous, but Brad Pitt seems untouchable. You don't think, like, Brad Pitt, it doesn't seem like a real person. He's so, like, handsome and wealthy, and it's just, like, he has got an air of, like, regality to him. Yeah. But Tom Hanks is like, oh, I feel like I know that guy.
Yeah. Only thing I think Brad Pitt would get is like herpes, maybe. But other than that,
yeah,
you know what I mean.
He caught coronavirus through his dick.
Then you just be like everything else. You'd be like, well, I mean, I understand that.
My dick has a dry cough,
and it lost its sense of taste and smell.
Yes, it's warm to the touch. Touch it.
Last thing I want to ask you about is like, what are you watching right now? Like, what are you catching up on? You work so much. You fucking work so much. It ruined all our Clippers seasons that,
working right now, baby.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, you're working, but you know what I mean. Like, are you, like, what are you watching? Are you taking time to like catch up on things you never got to watch?
Yeah. We're watching so much shit. I watched all of the Harry Potter movies and never saw them before. Never saw them.
Outraged.
Never watched them. And Chloe was like huge Harry Potter fan. So she was like, if you wanted to watch them all, and I was like, all right, fine, I'll watch them to be a nice quarantine spouse.
Yeah.
And
after movie
so
3, you were like, Chloe, come on, it started.
Yeah, totally. I'm like, I'm a Weasley boy.
You a Hufflepuff, or what are you, a Gryffindor? What are you?
you know I'm Gryffindor, without a doubt, homie, without a doubt.
So you watched all the Harry Potter,
dorks. And yeah, I watched all Harry Potter, and now we're like through season 5 of The Americans. And if you haven't seen that show, go back and watch it. It's awesome.
Oh, that's one of those, like, that's one of those that you hear everybody talking about. It's critically acclaimed, but I just couldn't get into another TV relationship. I had too many as it is.
Sure.
But you know what? You're right. I got to put that on the list. Americans.
Oh,
so
it's
check
like
that one out.
really, really good. And it's the perfect one to like watch through quarantine, because it's not like The Sopranos or The Wire or something that like everybody talked about it and it won all the awards. So like, so you did end up watching it. This is like, it was like a tier below that. So it kind of went under the radar for at least for me. Yeah. And then I watched it. I'm like, oh, this is an awesome show. So yeah, watching that, and obviously watched Tiger King.
Crazy. I bet you he liked Workaholics.
Oh yeah, Exotic Joe was a fan for sure. What's up? Say hello to Chloe.
Hi, Chloe. I got to get you on the podcast too.
He says he's got to get you on the podcast. She says, "Nah, she's good."
Yeah, I watched Tiger King. I'm watching this Netflix show called Money Heist. It's like Spanish.
How is that?
Oh, it's so good. And there's
really?
there's 4 seasons of it on there. So it's perfect to like, because I can't stand when stuff like, especially right now, I don't want to start something that there's a cliffhanger and I'm like, oh fuck, we're not going to get this for 5 years.
I know. That's why I'm like, not like Westworld is like back on. And I'm like, I don't really care. Cause I'm like, you're making me wait a whole week.
Yeah.
When I'm in quarantine. Me and Chloe are watching like 7 episodes of Americans a night. I put on Entourage the other day. Entourage.
Oh wow, you're struggling.
Yeah, I just like put it on and like just had it on for the day and went about my shit and came in and be like, oh, turtle, getting into stuff once again.
I've been watching this Maria Conda tidying up on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
Rachel's making me watch that just to be like, hey, let's watch this and let's start doing that.
I folded some T-shirts in tiny little squares for a minute.
Yeah, it's good. I like her little, like, I need her to come take care of my Netflix. Like, I need her to tidy up. You know what I mean? There's too much
what
shit.
You should watch. Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a nightmare, dude. You watching any documentaries? Are you into that kind of stuff?
I am. I'm not watching anything right now. I feel like I've watched all the good documentaries on Netflix.
Did you see how to stop a drug scandal?
Oh no, that's the one they're pushing on me right now. But I'm just
that's a good one. That's a good one, dude. Yeah, that's a good one. And then like Bobby Lee had me watch this one called Dear Zachary. It's on Amazon Prime. It is so, oh man, it's so heart-wrenching, and it's a really great documentary. It's got a murder mystery in it, so check those out. Well, all right, man. All right,
hey,
Mr.
That's it.
Mr. Gryffindor. I think we
podcast complete.
Hey, dude.
Is that
honestly,
how you sign off?
I really appreciate it. You seriously are one of my favorite people in the world.
Thanks,
I always
dude,
will. I just want to say I do appreciate all the times we've had together, from Workaholics on, because Workaholics literally changed my life. And I know that you guys were a main part of me getting to part season 1.
Mm-hmm.
I know it was like, cause I know it was like, I had to do like 5 auditions. It was crazy. It was like every single time it was like a different note. It was like, you're too big. Then it was like, what happened to
You're not big enough. What happened?
You were big enough. What happened to what you were doing? So I know it was like this big process, and you guys were like young, and you had to like do whatever they said, and you guys did your thing, and I appreciate you, and I congratulate you on being engaged. Chloe is a magnificent woman.
Yeah, she rules.
Yeah, she rules, and you.
Well, thanks, man. And yeah, buddy, we got to go to some more games again. Once it's back up and running.
I gotta work, man. I'm not on 75 shows at the same time as you, animated movies and all this kind of stuff, dude. You know, this is, Daddy's still working hard to like make ends meet.
All right, we'll go to like a Tuesday day game then.
Yeah,
all right. Yeah, when you're back in town.
Yeah, you can get the tickets for us. I'll be more than happy to go with you.
Okay, I'll get us some tickets.
Get 3 again, so it'd be you and Chloe. I can be your uncle, your mascot that goes with you at all times.
Yeah, right.
I don't go any place without Montez. You got to be like that. All right, man. It's good talking. We'll talk soon, all right? I appreciate you. All right?
Later,
take care.
See
Thanks
ya.
a lot.
Peace.